Welcome to the Value Wrestling Podcast. I'm the big time BT Baldwin. This is my tag team partner, Hollis Clark. And we are here to give you the best value in pro wrestling sports entertainment today. We are here to be a part of the IWC community, the best. We vow to put the value back into wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Value of Wrestling Podcast. I'm the big time BT Baldwin. Of course, you know that. Alongside the one, the only,
Hollis Clark.
And we're here again on this beautiful Saturday night to bring you a Clash of Champions 2020 Gold Rush pay-per-view predictions. Yes, it's going to be tomorrow night on the WWE Network, which you can still subscribe to if you're watching this podcast, and it's only $9.99 a month still for how long? I don't know. But anyways, tomorrow night's Clash of Champions, Sunday, September 27th. And we have a pretty decent card. I think Showtime is going to be starting at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, where we are here in the great, wonderful state of California. And so, overall, what are your thoughts about Clash of Champions right now?
Ooh. I'm not even sure where to start.
I
think what's freshest in my mind is Roman versus Jey Uso, just because earlier today I happened to watch the little documentary on Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually, I was already kind of, excited for the main event, or what I perceived it to be the main event, because...
Well, it has to be the main event at this point. That has to be the main event at this point. The way they built this, they built it bigger than the Randy Orton Drew McIntyre ambulance match, so I would say pretty much this would have to be the main event.
I thought the final moments of SmackDown were pretty cool, especially with Roman finally coming out with that Superman punch and hitting Jey.
Yep.
But then watching the Jey Uso documentary, it just kind of put a little more of a heart to it.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I think overall we're going to have a good card. It's going to be better than the United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live episodes 1 and 2. I mean, our expectations have been set.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Our expectations are kind of like sitting, like down here somewhere. So, I don't think, again, this is WWE and Vince McMahon, but I don't think we can be too disappointed. But hey, I won't hold my breath on those statements. But so far, it looks like...
As much as people can talk about WWE and trash WWE, you don't know nothing until you see some bad wrestling. Then you're like, thank you, Vince. I don't care what kind of senile BS you come up with.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I think the Kool-Aid's a little strong with this one tonight. I can't go that far with you. I can't jump on that train just yet. I will give credit as we get there. Friday night got really interesting, and it's actually, and I'll address this when we get there, but yeah, there's some changes to my opinion on some stuff that since Friday night, or last night, but we'll get into that. But so, what's being slated for the pre-show is going to be the Asuka versus Zelina Vega for the Women's Raw Championship. Why this match is happening, I don't know. Not to say Zelina Vega doesn't have some talent and can't be a player in the women's division, but she's so long really been more of a manager to Andrade, and of course now Angel Garza, that it's kind of hard to see her just jumped in this role. Of course, this is a throwaway match. I don't see anybody but Asuka winning this match. Curveballs could be thrown, but to me it's all Asuka. I don't know.
From a results perspective, I agree with you completely. For me, this is kind of an interesting match just because remembering that who we know now as Zelina Vega used to be Rosita in TNA, but we know she has a pro wrestling in-ring background.
Well, she gets to train one-on-one with one of the best wrestlers in the business, also Mr. Aleister Black. So, I'm sure she's...
I was just saying about that.
I'm sure she's getting some training tips there, but still at the same time, I don't know. Bottom line, I know Asuka's going to win. I don't see any curveballs. My prediction is with Asuka, and that's where I'm going to put it because there's not really been a storyline. This kind of got rushed. It was trying to find an opponent for Asuka. The good news is it's something fresh we haven't seen. I don't know how. Just Zelina Vega just hasn't had enough singles matches in WWE for me to feel like it's going to be competitive. I just feel like this is going to be a dominant match by Asuka. It'll probably be about a 15-minute match on the pre-show. That's their average, 15 to 20 minutes. They fit in there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to get some time on there. I'm sure she's going to get some comebacks, some offense in, but bottom line, she's not beating Asuka, and there's nobody else.
From a results perspective, I agree with you completely. What I'm saying is I expect to be an entertaining match.
I hope so. I really hope so. I want to see what Zelina Vega has to offer, and I'm hoping that as an opportunity to showcase her talent, that she gets the opportunity to showcase that this isn't just a dominant Asuka match. Though the rightful winners of Asuka, I still will want to see Zelina Vega maybe at least come out of this looking like, hey, maybe in the future, or at least gets that rub to kind of start her off on this quote-unquote singles career that she's going on. So, high expectations and like to see a lot. Hope of Zelina Vega shows what she can do. But overall, it's going to be a squash match. So in that match, well, it's not going to be a squash match, but it's going to be an Asuka win. And at that point, it's kind of a little disappointing because I would like a little more build to it. But right now, I know they don't really have anybody who can threaten, who's a threat to Asuka. And right now, the only reason Asuka is really the women's champion right now is because Becky Lynch had to relinquish the belt. So that kind of hurt Raw in that thing because they don't have anybody strong right now on the roster to knock Asuka off, which is not necessarily a bad thing because they have a lot of women there that they could be pushing into this position, but they're not because they keep staying with the few main ones that I think Vince likes a little too much.
They keep trying to make the safe plays,
yes,
as opposed to being a little risky and trying something different with a character that's already established maybe, but lower end as opposed to already made.
Yeah, and it's hard to think right now because I can't remember the women that are on Raw. Solana, Natalya, Asuka, Zelina Vega, and Baszler and Nia Jax, but they take Baszler out of the picture so she could be in a women's tag team match, which I think Baszler is the main person we would want to see against Asuka, so we'll see.
The Iconics who are not allowed to be the Iconic.
Oh yeah, Peyton Royce too. I forget, I guess she's on Raw. Even though a lot of people are going, oh, the mystery girl on SmackDown is going to be Peyton Royce. It's a trick. And I'm going, but they've proven that the tattoo matches Carmella. And I'm going,
it wouldn't be the first time WWE has either dropped the storyline or revamped and did something different just to mess with the fans.
Mess with the fans. I don't see it being Peyton Royce because I don't see Peyton Royce fitting that type of character yet. But again, it's Vince McMahon. And she's blonde, so who knows. So, but it's going to be Asuka, Zelina Vega, and I guess I'm going Asuka, and you're going along on that train too, so it's 2 for Asuka?
Yep.
All right. The next match on the card here is going to be, well, what I would perceive to be, I have no clue. I'm just going to say that the next match, at least we're going to talk about when I think is going to be the next match on the card, is the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team Champions for the 1 millionth time. Yes, this is going to be a sleeper match, and maybe they shouldn't start with this on the main pay-per-view. Maybe they'll start with the ladder match to get everybody going and up, and then they can bring in this match. I didn't think about that. But anyways, we had the Street Profits against Angel Garza and Andrade, and I don't know what to say about it. We've seen it over and over again in every switch up, which way, sideways, backways. I guess they don't have anybody else right now on Raw as a tag team to be in the place of these two guys. I mean, they tried to throw... the triple threat match was Angel Garza, Andrade versus Seth Rollins and Murphy, and Humberto Carrillo and Dominic Mysterio. And they all competed in this triple threat match to see who would be the number one contenders, and Angel Garza and Andrade won, and so we're getting this match again, but it was like we thought this team broke up, just as much as like Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy are supposed to be like on the outs. At least that's what they want you to believe. I don't know. I think the right move right now would be to move the titles to Angel Garza and Andrade because we've seen this match so much and they need something to do, because another loss to them is just going to flush them down. I mean, they're just going to become almost, as Matt Hardy would say. Oh no, it wouldn't be Matt Hardy. It would be Jeff Hardy, obsolete. I mean, they're really going to become. Huh?
Only thing that's even worth watching this match for is just to see what the hell Montez Ford's going to do.
Yeah.
That fool, in ring, whether or promos, that fool is entertaining.
Yeah.
He'll find it. I mean, that's like the Ultimate Warrior Light, always with the intros.
No, the Street Profits are great. I like them together. They definitely shoot off some promos. They're intelligent. What's his name? Is it Montez Ford? No, Montez Ford's the bigger guy, right?
No, Angelo Dawkins is the big
Angelo Dawkins, yes. Montez Ford's the one that's the ex-Army soldier, too. So there's a personal like there just because. But I like what they do. I like how...
Are you a fan of the Forgotten Sons, then?
Do what?
So are you a fan of the Forgotten Sons?
Oh, I would be a diehard fan of... I want to say Gunner, but I know that's not his name. It's slipping my head right now.
The former Gunner, if you can't remember his name.
Yeah, the former Gunner in TNA. I don't know what his name is right now in WWE. It's blanking me. It's out there. I know Blake's over there, and then I forgot who the other guy is. But, no, I like the gimmick. I like the idea. I like the fact that these people were together, but again, they didn't know how to present it or how to do it. And Gunner's got the former Gunner, again, sorry, my bad, your fault, but he has a lot of talent. He was very impressive in TNA in his days. Coming to WWE, he was pretty, I don't know, I haven't seen him too much in NXT. He really hasn't been the man wrestling. He seems to be more like a managerial, but I mean, I've always been impressed with the man formerly known as Gunner, who's Jackson Ryder, Jackson Ryder? Or Riker? Riker. So Jackson Riker, we'll go with. I'm impressed. I'd like to see them get a little more over and get somewhere. They just haven't been given the go, and I don't know how many people can get behind it. They just haven't been on enough for me to get it. I mean, I was really excited about the storyline, but it's never been over. But that's all another story, another time. But the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade. I'm mixed. I mean, personally, I think it needs to be Angel and Andrade at this point because we've seen it so much. They need the gold. They need to give something to these two. So I mean, I guess you can write the story where they both go and win the titles, but they're still rubbing heads. So friction in the tag team until they pretty much fall apart. The Street Profits, I don't think there's much more you can do right now with the Street Profits as the champions. Not that they're not deserving, but right now, I'm you don't have anybody else for them to compete with. The storyline really lends itself better for Angel Garza and Andrade to have the tag team titles. Let them continuously friction and on Angel Garza talk to all the women that are there and be distracted. And some point in time, some female will probably be the distraction for Angel Garza, which will get him pinned, make them lose their titles, and then we can say Angel Garza and Andrade compete with one another. And maybe that one will be Charlotte, because that would really put an emphasis on, So, I don't know. I mean, I'm tight. What I want and what I think and what should be the story, Angel Garza and Andrade. What might happen, what I believe within 99% of myself is the Street Profits. What I believe Vince would do.
My official prediction is also the Street Profits.
Just cause, or
the story they're telling with Angel Garza and Andrade, they only were put back together a week after breaking up just to have a damn tag match. Really?
No.
I don't see them. I mean, I can sit here and say it doesn't make sense. Well, there's a lot of things about WWE that doesn't make sense. So that's a pointless thing to make.
Yes. Well, and that's the only reason. Go ahead.
I just see the title staying on the Street Profits for the foreseeable future until
Something.
they find something. I mean, for all I know, in a week they could be defending against how do you say his name? Dominic Mysterio and Creed. I'm
Humberto Carrillo. Or they could be defending against two members of Retribution.
That's true at this point.
Just hopefully it won't be, what, Retaliation and Reckoning?
They usually, when they do that kind of stuff, they usually have females versus females and males versus males.
No.
They don't do typical intergender matches.
No, not in WWE.
No,
But
that's Impact Wrestling's deal.
But I found it funny that the news broke on what Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez's names are possibly going to be as Retaliation and Reckoning. Which I buy.
Even defended Reckoning.
Well, yeah, I know.
Twitter.
I know. Mia Yim's going to be Reckoning and Retaliation's going to be Mercedes Martinez. And the only thing I can say about those names, at least they sort of make sense when your group's named Retribution, and or at least have some. I feel like there's impact behind that name. Like, I am Reckoning. Okay, I can be a little intimidated. You're part of a group of Retaliation. It's a whole lot better than Mace, T-Bar, and Slapjack.
T-Bar? What?
Yeah, and that's what he is. Oh, and T-Bar says that the one professional wrestler and technical Hall of Famer that he would spare from any beatdown is X-Pac, because he likes X-Pac's name. Because, yeah, T-Bar and X-Pac. No, it came out on Twitter and said that. I mean, it was just like the stupidest crap anyways. But anywho, Street Profits over Angel Garza and Andrade. I think that's both of our picks at this point. I'm just hopefully wishing that maybe they'll give a little bit, and give the gold and let Angel Garza and do their storyline. It's, you know, that's what it is. So, from one match we've seen a bazillion times to another match that we've seen one too many times. And that is the United States Championship will be on the line as Apollo Crews defends his U.S. title against Bobby.
Who's the U.S. champion?
Is it Lashley?
Wow, even I pay attention more to the show than you do, apparently.
Well, no, the screen I have up has the belt on Apollo. So.
Again, there's a difference between paying attention to the show and seeing what you see on the website.
Well, this is true. I don't care enough about this match anyways. No, I think you're wrong, sir. Because even here, it says Apollo Crews is the champion. Let me check. Who is WWE United States champion? Current champion's Bobby Lashley. Okay, so something's wrong.
Like it's in the Hurt family, Hurt business. I mean, when on Lashley.
I think you're right, because I think I remember seeing it when they were doing the Retribution thing. But I've got to. They've been tied in the Hurt to the Retribution, so the Hurt business has kind of been like, and then they've been on Raw Underground, so I've kind of been like not like sitting here going, oh, okay. Go and quit. Cool. I don't want all that shit. Why are you giving me all this shit? Fuck it. Bobby Lashley's going to defend his championship against the Apollo Crews, and the belt hurts right now because they flip-flop it back and forth. MVP Bobby Lashley, or MVP Apollo Crews, Bobby Lashley. I think it was Apollo Crews who had it before. He lost it to MVP before they revamped it and showed the new one, which is uglier than the older one. The older one made sense. This one just doesn't do anything for me. I know they revamped the Intercontinental title, which looks really good, and kind of the era we're going for. You know, AEW title, New Japan Pro Wrestling. It fits into a modern era of wrestling bouts a whole lot better. It's the Intercontinental title. It's probably the better title than any other title in the WWE right now. But anywho, that aside, Apollo Crews is going to take on Bobby Lashley, and all I want to say is I feel like Bobby Lashley is going to. I feel like they're trying to get Bobby Lashley over by making him like play the role of The Rock, because this is very similar to The Rock versus Nation of Domination years ago.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't see Lashley turning on him, first of all. Second, MVP calls him the CEO, which is basically calling him the leader.
No, I mean Cruz playing the role of The Rock on the outside of the group that wants him to be a part of the group, or they did want him part of the group.
Yeah, I don't think they want him at this point.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, they added Cedric Alexander, which I think really helped Cedric Alexander to move into a new position and get refreshed. I just don't know. I'm thinking that this is going to be like Apollo Crews. Obviously, Lashley wins. That's what I say. I just think it's a beatdown. How long do you get beat down by the same people before you join them? I don't know if that's the story they're going to tell. And I wouldn't be too mad if we saw Apollo Crews heel, because he hasn't done anything as a babyface to really invest his time in. They put him in every weird situation. He was in Titus Worldwide, that didn't do anything for him. Now he's tagging up with Ricochet, which is great, but Apollo Crews has just been this babyface that I don't feel like it's doing anything and really could benefit from a heel turn.
I feel as far as Apollo Crews and his different associations, they just never really invested enough in him to make it work.
No.
I mean, because I thought it was interesting when he was when he was first part of Titus Worldwide, but again, it's just like they booked him the same. Even though it was with Titus, they didn't do anything with him.
Well, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything with the whole damn thing, and they had a great thing when they had Dana Brooke and Apollo Crews and Titus Worldwide. They were building something there. I mean, Dangerous Alliance era, maybe in a babyface form, and that's fine. But if you're going to put a faction together, if you're going to bring a group of guys together, you got to do something with them. You can't just give us it and then be like, okay, we're bored with this and throw it out the window. But
which is, I think, why they've had the Herb Business be the opposition to Retribution.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, we don't know what else to do with them, so here's something, at least a point of what they can do, and it makes sense within their characters.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts, because with Retribution and the Hurt Business out there, there's another man who holds a Universal title that said the Dynasty might be coming and would whoop all their butts. Because I guess there's talks of him leading the family. After all this, Jimmy and Jay are going to fall in line, and he's going to be the tribal chief and have his own faction. And they may go ahead and do like the whole dynasty, talking about Jimmy Jay, Tamina, and Nia Jax, because they're all of the bloodline. And he said he would throw Samoa Joe in there just because, the Samoan heritage.
Because it would be fun.
Yeah, well, I think Samoa Joe needs to stay the outsider, and I'll get to that later, because I think the great storyline can be written there. But, so we're both going with Lashley, right?
Absolutely. I don't see, based on historical proof, I see nothing for Apollo.
No. Well, that moves us into the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Yes, the Women's Tag Team Championship match where Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler are going to defend the Women's Tag Team titles against the recently reformed Riot Squad, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. And I don't know how to feel about any of it. The storyline I get, but I want to go Riot Squad. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's where I'm going to hedge myself, because I think the Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler teaming up thing it's a waste, and you're taking two single stars and putting them in a tag team right now when you need more Shayna Baszler to be in the women's title picture than the women's tag team title picture.
My heart is with the Riot Squad, but my official prediction is with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
Well, I'm going Riot Squad because I want to, because I just don't want this storyline to continue. I'm sure it's probably going to be a disappointment to me, and it's going to be Jax and Baszler, but I'm going to give hope to at least this match that maybe they'll go, okay, this storyline we're doing with Jax and Baszler just doesn't work, and that the Riot Squad's going to win. Maybe, hopefully, Baszler will punch Nia Jax in the face, and then they'll roll her up, and that'll be it. I don't like them as a tag team. I don't like the idea, the two heels that are working together. It just doesn't do anything for me. And honestly, I want to see Shayna Baszler on her own, because that's who she is, or unless she's with her four horsewomen.
To me, it's kind of reminiscent in the female version of Matt Hardy and MVP. Two rivals.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I'll get more enjoyment out of it than you do. Not by much, but more than you.
Yeah, but at least in the Matt Hardy MVP feud, they had the U.S. title calling, kind of going back and forth, even as tag team champions together. So at least they had the other belt they were kind of feuding with against. I mean, that's what led into this. This was just, we're going to put you two together because Nia Jax sucks at wrestling, and Shayna Baszler can carry her through these matches, and hopefully Nia Jax can learn how to wrestle without hurting people.
Well, I don't know about behind the scenes stuff. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I ain't there. What I do know is this is the match we have. I'm sure all four competitors are going to put the best show they know how to put on. But I think the booking-wise, I think they're going to keep the titles on the current champions.
Of course, we also got to remember, I guess after this is sometime after this, and I guess before Hell in a Cell, we're supposed to get a draft. So I don't know if that's going to change anything. So, of course, as women tag team champions, they can go on any brand, so I guess it doesn't matter for them, but it could be interesting. But anyways,
special ones.
You're going Jax Baszler. I'm praying for a Riot Squad miracle. It's going to be
so you really are living on a prayer.
Living on a prayer. Oh. So that brings us into the ladder match for the Intercontinental title. Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles. Jeff Hardy, the current Intercontinental champion. Sami Zayn, the self-proclaimed, never was beaten for the Intercontinental champion, and AJ Styles just there because of how the storyline's been written out. So we go back to WrestleMania. Sami Zayn was Intercontinental champion. COVID hit, things shut down. Sami chose to stay home, which there was nothing wrong with that. He did like Roman Reigns, like many other people did, said, I don't want to risk it. I want to be safe for whatever reason, and everybody has the right to the personal reasons in that matter. So he wasn't on TV. He was asked to come in. I guess somewhere down the line he was asked to come in, and he refused to. So they vacated him of the Intercontinental title and storyline, and then had a tournament which led to AJ and Jeff Hardy. I think AJ won it, and then Jeff Hardy won it from AJ, if I remember. And yep. That's where we are. And then Sami Zayn made his return and says, no, I'm the true Intercontinental champion. I throw back to a Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon era, where Shawn was the Intercontinental champion and went away, refused to give it up. They had an Intercontinental title tournament. Razor won it, which led to one of the greatest ladder match and the first ladder match in WWE history when Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon took on each other for the Intercontinental champion at WrestleMania 10. So then we're going to get to talk about the ladder match, and like I was just saying, we had the, this is reminiscent of the Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Intercontinental feud back to WrestleMania 10, the first ladder match in WWE, at least the first match they acknowledge, ladder match they acknowledge. So in this match, I say no to AJ. Definitely, I don't think he's going to win it. I think AJ's probably going to wind up back in Raw after the draft, just for various reasons, and overall, I think it's probably best, and I'm going to put my prediction in for Sami Zayn. The reason I say Sami is because they never really got to do the storyline with Sami because of everything that happened. So now I think it's the opportunity to fulfill whatever they were going to do with Sami. I think Sami is going to be better with it. He's doing great as the heel character, and I think if you have Zayn running with it as a heel character, whoever the babyface is chasing him, whether it be Hardy or someone else, which my only conclusion is probably you have Zayn and win it here, give a rematch at Hell in a Cell with just him and Hardy, have Zayn retain and let Zayn carry out the Intercontinental title for the foreseeable future.
My heart for everything that you just said is with Sami Zayn, but my official prediction is Jeff Hardy. I don't think they're going to take the title off them. Just because if they stop... In NXT, Sami Zayn was a big deal.
Yes. And
Sami Zayn has proven to get himself over on the main roster, but the way they push him, the way they book him, has never been right. Up until they finally gave him the Intercontinental title, and then COVID happened. We've already been through all that.
Yes. Well,
I don't think they see enough in Sami Zayn for whatever reason.
But they did then when they pulled the trigger and gave it to him before all this happened. So.
To me, it still doesn't say much, because it's like when Christian won the World Heavyweight title. A lot of us as fans saw him as a possible main eventer.
But that was
he was in TNA, and they even gave him, a couple of shots, but he was never booked as the main event. I don't see them looking at Sami Zayn as the Intercontinental Champion for those moments.
You can't compare Christian to this, because Christian, the only reason Christian won the title, and I'm sorry that, I have to say this, and he deserved it for other reasons, but the only reason he got the title is because Edge had to retire, and they played on the heartstrings of the fans and let him have that because that's what he wanted. And Edge.
You say that in WWE, but you cannot make that argument in TNA.
No, I'm talking about WWE. In TNA, he proved that he was worthy of it and definitely deserved it and should have been a world champion in WWE, but not by the reasons or the way it all played out. And they still made him look horrible in his defense. I mean, Orton and then Mark Henry and all that crap, they made him the champion, but then, unfortunately, they made him look like a paper champion or an interim champion because of the way they booked that whole crap, which was unfair to him because Christian really deserved a good run with the world title at the time. They did even more for Kofi Kingston's world championship run and at least made him look decently strong until he got beaten by Brock Lesnar than they did for Christian and that whole mess, and it's just sad. But I think they're going to go with Zayn. I think they were giving it to him before. I think they're going to go back to him. I don't think Hardy has any reason to hold on to the Intercontinental title. I don't think it does anything to elevate Hardy. I don't see where you take him from here.
I think in their mind, Hardy elevates the title because they still see Hardy as a main eventer. Despite the fact that he's slowed down, despite the fact that they still see a name value in it.
Well, I guess you could say he's probably going to keep the title because he just renewed his deal, so keep him happy. We'll give you the Intercontinental title because, I know Matt was being somewhat in the ear of Jeff of, come over to AEW so we can do all of this stuff we talked about. But also, he re-signed his deal, and I think, here's another thing. I think Hardy may lose the title also because there is still talk, rumor, speculation that he may be trying to bring the Willow character in. So for him to do that, he may have to drop the title and go away for a little while, or get in a bump, or maybe he needs to go face the Fiend. Maybe he'll get drafted to SmackDown. I don't know. So, which is all fair, and this is what we do here. You're one for Hardy. I'm going to say Zayn, and we're both saying AJ. Thanks for coming. Sorry about your damn luck.
Yeah, unfortunately. I loved AJ as Intercontinental Champion. Don't get me wrong. I love any title he holds.
Oh, yeah.
So I just think they're going to see him right now as a utility player, and then they're going to try to figure out the best use for him.
Hopefully they let him do what he wants and get with Finn Balor and make a tag team there. Or hell, build a faction around the two of them.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
But with that said, the next match we're going to talk about is the Women's SmackDown Championship, where Bayley is going to defend her Women's SmackDown Championship against Nikki Cross. Glad to see Nikki Cross, at this point. I don't know if she's really done enough individually to say, okay, you're a viable threat in this match. And also because I know what the main outcome is. Hands down, Becky's going to win. That's poignant. We know what the storyline is. It's Bayley, Sasha. Hopefully they don't screw this up. I pray to God. Rumor speculation is that Bayley and Sasha are going to Hell in a Cell, going to have the Women's Championship match, and Sasha Banks is going to somehow be the winner of that, which is total garbage. And the storyline needs to be simply, look, if they go in Hell in a Cell, Bayley needs to just go insane. Bayley needs to go and turn that. She needs to turn that degree up 10, and she needs to come after Sasha with ungodly vengeance. Just everything she can pull out from under the ring, she needs to beat the snot out of Sasha. And I would say Sasha needs to fall off, maybe not the top of the cage, but get knocked off the side of the cage through a table or some element of something that's severe enough to take her out of action, so she can disappear Bayley can parade around like she's the greatest thing on ice, and she got rid of Sasha Banks. She did what nobody else could do, and then Royal Rumble, bada bing, WrestleMania, we know the story. In this match, it's going to be Bayley. Nikki Cross, thank you for showing up to the party, but today, it's not your day. They didn't do with you anything with insanity. You only got a small break because you got put with Alexa Bliss, and Vince likes Alexa, so... That's that. She got Nikki. I don't even know why Nikki Cross got in here. I mean, I know the match. She won the 4-way between herself, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans.
That's so nice.
Oh, shut
Just
up.
ask me what you'd like me to do, and I'll try my best to help.
That's got to be edited. God damn you, Alexa. Rewind. So I know Nikki Cross won the Fatal 4-Way with Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, and... was it Naomi? Okay. So that's where Nikki Cross won. But other than that, I really don't know why she's here. I mean, she's gotten a little rub off Alexa Bliss. And I guess the only reason she really won that match was... because of the storyline with Alexa Bliss and The Fiend. I think that it was just it's spiraling out of like they're trying to write the story. I don't know if Sasha Banks comes down and interferes, if Alexa Bliss comes down and interferes. There's a lot of possibilities of what is going to happen here. End of the day, Bayley's going to win.
I'm not going to spend too much time trying to analyze stories that I'm not really going to worry about. Official prediction is Bayley.
Alrighty. This brings us to what I think will probably be the next match on the card, which is the WWE Championship match, the co-main event, as they say. The ambulance match between Drew McIntyre, the defending, reigning World Heavyweight Champion, and he's going to take on the Apex Predator, the Viper, the Legend Killer himself, Randy Orton. Again, another match. Orton earned the right for this match. Speculation, rumors is Orton. There's all this chatter about Orton taking the title right now. I say no. I'm going to say it stays with Drew McIntyre. I mean, the way they wrote the storyline, I think it's going to be Drew, and this is going to be kind of the crescendo to this all, and off he will send Orton in an ambulance, and he will retain the title. And I don't know what happens from here.
I guess. Well, I don't know about from a pay-per-view standpoint. I wouldn't be surprised from post this pay-per-view if Keith Lee is still in the picture. But but like you, I see Drew McIntyre retaining the title.
Yeah.
I have no interest in Randy Orton as champion at this point. Not that because he's not worthy, but just the story's not there for me right now.
Well, and I don't know who you send him on the fight. I mean, I guess he can hang it on to right. Because, I mean, I think we're looking at this right now. Whoever wins this really is probably going to be the person pushing to the end of the year as your world champion. Because we're getting closer to closing out the end of the year. And WrestleMania season's going to start. So... I don't know who you're going to put against Orton, unless you're going to have Big E win the Royal Rumble and do Big E versus Randy Orton, because I know he's on SmackDown for right now. I mean, I don't know what could change with a draft and everything else, but I think there's another storyline being written in SmackDown for the Universal title, which we'll get to in a moment. But right now, Drew McIntyre holds the belt, because I just don't see a point in Randy Orton having it, or what he's going to do with it, or who can he really face as champion. That brings us to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Lucha House Party for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The belts aren't going to move. Well, no. I don't know why. I guess they need to stay on Nakamura and Cesaro for myself, because then I think, you have Sami Zayn win the Intercontinental title, and you can bring them all back together as title holders and create a little friction storyline there. But anyway, I just Lucha House Party is never been a threat, never going to be a threat. So unless they want to surprise the fans and get a pop, which in the Thunderdome you get your own created pop, but I don't see Lucha House Party unless it's some weird just. You guys have worked so hard, so we're going to give you the titles. I don't know, because I don't know what else they do with Nakamura and Cesaro. Again, I don't know why Nakamura and Cesaro are holding the titles, except they don't know what else to do with them.
On top of that, aren't they kind of telling the story of a possible breakup with the Lucha House Party?
Yeah, they keep spinning that, where they're bickering and fighting, kind of, so. And if you break up Lucha House Party, what's that do for any of them? Kalisto going to go back to feuding for the U.S. title? And what are you going to do with Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado? They're not going to go.
205 Live, baby!
They're not going to be anywhere. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to have any place to go anywhere. They're going to get thrown to the side because Vince doesn't know what to do with luchadors. He just knows people will watch it because of the time of WCW, because they knew Eric Bischoff, good, bad, or otherwise, knew how to present different type of wrestling. And he knew Lucha Libre wrestling at that time. Bringing it to America, bringing us something new with the high-flying stunts would attract us to something over here while the main stories are going over here. But still give us something. And Vince has never known what to do with a cruiserweight division, a lightweight division, or any of these people. He's just used them because people like it, but he doesn't, and he doesn't care, so he doesn't put the emphasis on it. And so all these luchadors, all these cruiserweights that have ungodly talent in many of them, are never really given the opportunity to shine because they are low to mid-carders to jobber fillers that are pointless to Vince McMahon. As the fans, I love to see them. I love to see what they can do. But every time and any time, and we can go through a list, the only one that broke free was Rey Mysterio. And that was, again, kind of right on the curtails of Eddie Guerrero's death, which...
As world champion, yes. Not as a popular star in general.
No. He got over on his own, granted, in the long-term big picture, but he was over in WCW and he carried that name recognition and just grew more in WWE. The reason he was a world champion was because of Eddie Guerrero's death, which is always like, because he deserved a true... Well, I take that back. He did have a short span title match when he won the match at, I think, was it Money in the Bank or SummerSlam, and then Kane came out with the Money in the Bank and then took him out and then took the title, and it was just like, And I think he won the title again in some other match. He won a world title, and then they brought back Cena. Like, Cena left, and then they had the title tournament.
He had beat,
Wasn't that before Money in the Bank with CM Punk? I think that was that.
without looking it up, I couldn't tell you what order it came in.
I think that's what that was.
He was basically used as fodder for CM Punk and Cena to get, to wrestle again.
Yeah. So he had won a tournament for the title, and then Cena came out, and they let Cena fight for it. And it was like the stupidest thing ever. It was like Cena got fired or something. I don't know what the whole. I have to go back and look it up, but it was for the CM Punk feud. But then he had that one match where he won it, and then Kane came out and like choke slammed him after it was a Money in the Bank weird thing. And I'm knowing, yeah. So, but here we're going to see Cesaro and Nakamura retain the titles, which a house party probably separate, and they'll go feud amongst themselves on 205 Live, and then one day one of them will appear on the TV show and we'll be like, who's that? I think I remember Kalisto. Yeah. Wasn't he part of that team? What was it? Lucha something? Lucha. The Lucha Dragons, yes. Alrighty. Now let's get to the main event, the match of the matches. The only thing that is going to be... The only thing that's making this show right now worth watching. Otherwise, some of the other matches, they could be good, but I still have my feelings of doubt and sit back a little bit going, But this is the one match that's got to be worth it all. This is the one match they've done in a long time that's actually drawn in and gives a reason to watch this card. It's a match that's actually like, you have to see this. We have to see what happens. It's the best storyline going right now. They finally found a way to make a good storyline with Roman Reigns. And that is the Universal title match. Roman Reigns versus his blood, Jey Uso. So, and I will say this, I'm excited. I'm getting more excited. I was a little intrepid about this and a little nervous about what was going on. I still am like reserved to go full board because it is WWE, it's Vince McMahon, but after Friday, I have seen what I've really been wanting to see in this heel turn of Roman. He knocked the hell out of Jimmy. He came flying out of there, and he showed his anger and his rage. Like, this is my table. I feed you and this family and the whole family, and I like this Roman Reigns. I like what this is doing. I like how it came out with Jay. And I will flop on the fact that I don't think this match now needs to be a complete squash. Would I rather see it be, and maybe the powers of the video get an idea, but I think this needs to be a street fight. I think it needs to be a street fight because it needs to be somewhat competitive, and I think in the ring, in a straight up one-on-one in the ring, it can be competitive, but I think it sways heavier to Roman. I think that if you take this and turn this into a street fight, whether they come out and say, hey, we've changed it to a street fight, or they do some manipulation because you have Paul Heyman in there, you could definitely make it a street fight at the last second. Or if they just, the ref lets them basically do whatever they want and just kind of turns a blind eye. But I think, the storyline needs to go that, Roman is beating the snot out of Jimmy, and through a mix-up or through, the reason the street fight, because it gives Jimmy weapons to help stop Roman, because, the overall picture is Roman's going to be the dominant big dog, the dominant beast. He's going to tear through Jey Uso. It's a Roman Reigns win, hands down. Nobody can deny that. That's the story that's being told. But, yes, I want to see Jey get some comeuppings. I want to see Jey get to that near end. I want to see him get one over on Roman. I think the thing, you write the story like this, I think Roman comes out a little cocky, a little slow, a little more in that friendly, competitive, this is my cousin, a little playful. I think he calms down from the other night, and he's out here and he's being playful. He's taking his time. Yes, he's pretty much been in the dominant head, but he's, got that arrogance of him, like, oh, this is just, taking it easier than he should, and that's when Jey hits a super kick. Roman screws up, misses something, Jey ducks, super kick, knock him down, get him on his back, gets on the top rope, flies off the top rope. We get a 1, a 2, and then he kicks out, and then that's when Roman snaps, because like Jey could sit up while Roman's sitting there in shock going, I was this close, I almost had you, and then have that Roman like, no, you don't have me, you never had me, and then it's just on like Donkey Kong. I think it's just like, heck, you know what, maybe not a street fight, maybe a one-on-one match, but after this you have Roman just beat the holy hell out of Jey, even to the point where he gets disqualified. He retains the title. Jey wins the match, which could further a storyline a little bit. In that scenario, could give Jey another opportunity at the title match. Hell, take it to Hell in a Cell. Yeah, it may not be the greatest thing, but you know what? Seeing Jey and Roman in Hell in a Cell, and having Roman throw Jey off the top of the cage, could really write another chapter in the story.
You are just lucky for that off the top of the cage spot.
But no, my whole thing is, I think the story they painted, what they're writing, has pinned them in a corner. I think this hurts Big E and Bray Wyatt right now with the storyline they're having, because the storyline's the dynasty, the storyline's this family heritage, and that Roman Reigns is sitting up here going, I'm the big dog, I sit at this table. And with the video package they put out where you had Sika talking about, oh, this is my son, you had Alpha, and you had Rikishi defending Jey and supporting Jey. Oh, there's a storyline just falling into place where you have Roman. I think Roman goes in gentle, he's playing with Jey, he's not really taking it all that seriously. Jey gets that opportunity, almost gets that 3 count, and then Roman just sheer snaps. And I think maybe ending in a disqualification didn't work here. Not a big fan of all of that, but I think that him just beating the blood, just beat the living crap out of him. He has to break him in that last few minutes, and I think even if it's a disqualification, it gives Jey the win or the W in the book, which means Jey has the right to come back later and say, hey, that's still my title. You go to Hell in a Cell, and Jey can be like, I almost had you, and you didn't beat me. You lost your rage because you know you can't beat me or whatever. You can involve Sika, you can involve Rikishi, you can involve the whole family. You go to this Hell in a Cell, and then you really have Roman beat him, just beat him. I don't know what you do going into Survivor Series, but the reason I say it kind of hurts Big E, and it definitely hurts Bray Wyatt in this sense, because we're all thinking, Roman Reigns is going to pass Jay, and then we're going to go to Bray Wyatt, but I don't see, it's hard to see that storyline, because it's kind of like, you're over here writing this beautiful storyline, to jump to the Fiend, yeah, you could feel it, but I think if you bring in Rikishi and Sika and have them come in, Rikishi being like, what you do to my son, and then let Roman and Rikishi have a match on, SmackDown one night, and just, Roman beat him down, and Roman can come out and go, I ruled this family with an iron fist, blah, 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 blah. You carry that all the way to WrestleMania, and then somewhere after Rumble, here comes The Rock. And The Rock's like, nah, bitch, I run this show. I'm the head of this family. I carried this torch before you came along, and you're not sitting at the head of the table. I'm the one that's sitting at the head of the table. I'm the one that provides for this family. And now, it's kind of that father-son thing where the son has finally come up and he's like, I gotta, and that whole tribal idea, the son's got to take out dad to become, king or whatever. And then you have Roman beat Rock, unfortunately, at WrestleMania, and, pass the torch in that sense. Though I'd like to see Rock beat him just to humble him, and then, sadly, you probably come back a year later and then have Roman beat The Rock, but ultimately, I think the storyline's there, and I think that pushes Big E off on the side. I think that pushes Bray Wyatt off onto another side, which is fine. I think there's other things Bray Wyatt could be doing right now than fighting for the or the Universal title, just because they really hurt him in that last little bit. I think they continue with the bonding him with Alexa Bliss, and I don't know who else. They keep talking about a new Wyatt family. I wouldn't mind seeing them bring in other people to fill in that role, and he's off doing this, because you could bring him after WrestleMania to start feuding with Roman Reigns. But I think, this match is all Roman, definitely, no doubt about it. But I'd like to, I'm getting excited, and I want to see where this storyline goes. So, yeah.
So you just explained to us a very fantastic way of how things could be booked, but what is your official prediction?
Oh, it's Roman all the way. It's Roman winning this match. What's going to happen booking-wise, I don't know. I hold my breath, but I think if you look at it, they've written such a great storyline that it would be a shame to... A one and done just feels like you've done so much, and the beautiful storyline and the lineage, and having Paul Heyman tell the story about this, and then bringing Sika, Alpha, and Rikishi in this video package. I know they can do a one and done and be done with it, but I mean, there's so much more that they're going to leave at the table, and if anything about The Rock coming back, I think you have to have Roman run through the whole entire family. Hell, he even needs to knock his daddy silly and be like, look, you answer to me now, But that's just me, and that's just an idea.
Right. Yeah, I kind of look at it the same way as far as officially I've seen Roman, coming out with the title, getting the official W. I kind of like the way you booked it as far as Jay getting the disqualification win. Because like you said, it could continue the story. I just don't think they thought that far ahead.
I don't know. I think they backed themselves into a corner again. I think they put something together, and then it started growing, and then they're on to something, and now they're kind of like going, oh, but this is really just, because this really was a filler match. This was really a match where they were just going, and of course, Roman's talking about this faction and bringing everybody together, so I don't know. And of course, the other thing is I don't know what Jimmy's status is right now, so I don't know if you give Jay at Hell in a Cell. Roman gets DQ, Jay gets the win. Jay gets to call out, hey, you didn't beat me, I won, and I almost had you. You lost your temper. Rematch at Hell in a Cell, defeats him, and then I don't know what you really do at Survivor Series. And I don't know what the status of Jimmy is, but then that would be next. I'd bring Jimmy in to go, oh, you want to take out my brother? Oos. You want to play like this? Oos. And then you have Jimmy and Roman do, their story. And then, you get to Royal Rumble. How do you get from Rumble to Mania? Maybe you can fill with, maybe you can put Big E in that place at Rumble at that time. Of course, I'd hate to see Big E get this push not to win, to be put on that pedestal not to Lynn, but Roman's not losing the title, not at least until Mania, period, depending on whose opponent is at Mania, and he may not lose it at Mania. But I think there's a beautiful storyline there. I just don't know. I can see till the end of the year. You can use Jay. Hopefully Jimmy's clear to come back. You can use Jimmy. You fill the end of the year with him feuding with the family. You come to Rumble, though. I don't know who you kind of feed to Roman temporarily without hurting them.
Cough, cough. Get Baron Corbin. Cough, cough.
But now you're going to have a hard heel Roman in a, I don't know, unviable threat. I don't know who's not a. I mean, because you can't. I mean, guess you could throw Bray Wyatt in there at Rumble, but then you're going to hurt Bray Wyatt. Anybody you put in there, you can't do anybody that's going to hurt their character at the moment. And I'm trying to run through some baby faces over there. I don't know. Maybe you put AJ Styles in that position. You switch some babyface after the Intercontinental title match. You let him come back babyface. Have AJ in there because AJ and Roman can have good matches. You just have Roman get over at there, and then after the Rumble, big dogs talking, and then you have The Rock, and then you can build them. You don't necessarily have to have Roman defend the title between Rumble and Mania. Like, you don't have to have him on whatever pay-per-view will be in between. You could hold off building the whole Rock versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania. And then after that, you can have Roman win, and then you have another storyline that would be absolutely great. You have the outsider, the Samoan that's not a part of the family, because you can bring the family together, but then you have that outsider. You can be like, okay, you can terrorize your family, but you can't take, Joe. And you bring Joe up as the outsider to all that Samoan family and be like, yeah. So, don't know, but tomorrow night it's going to be Roman. No doubt about it. Nobody can sit here and convince me otherwise. If Jay wins the title at Clash of Champions for
that will blow everyone's mind.
Yeah, no, that will be the greatest shocker in wrestling in years, and it could it could be really good. I mean, you could really write a storyline. He got over on Roman. Now you have Roman hell bent to basically murder Jey Uso. But they've really written a beautiful storyline, and unfortunately, I'm like, I want to see this play out, and I don't want to see this play out in one match. Like, I'm going to be like somewhat disappointed in the whole thing if it's like this is one and done, and he jumps on the Bray Wyatt, which is kind of, we know that that's their projected idea. Last we thought before this all started, and when they threw this match together, saying, "Oh, we'll put them two together, we'll have a filler match, and then we can get back to Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt." If they jump back to Bray Wyatt right now, it's just kind of like, meh. Doesn't do anything now. It's kind of like, okay. It takes the steam out of the sails that Roman has right now. Mm-hmm. And that's also because we still haven't seen Bray Wyatt since his loss, and we haven't seen him really be the babyface fiend, that they're saying we're supposed to get. Like, this is supposed to be a babyface fiend. So
I think that's being built through Alexa Bliss at this point.
Yeah, she's showing. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Because when you look at SmackDown, not from the face perspective, but the fact that the Fiend was flared across the screen.
Oh yeah, no. They're telling a great story with the Alexa Bliss thing, but at the same time, she is good at what she does, at least with the acting. I won't say she's one of the better female wrestlers. That's still up for debate, but her character and her ability to project that, A, she's hypnotized, and then that she's completely nuts, and that she worked her hair into the whole thing, that her hair was all crazy and fizzed out. I'm just like, it's viable. I can see that this is real, and she's really putting the effort to her. So, I give all the props to Alexa Bliss in that stance. But still, I mean, it's in the middle for me, which is fine. I think the Fiend should be more between her anyways. Why has he got to be a babyface or a heel, period? I think he's one of the few characters that can just be there and do whatever the Fiend wants to do and go up against whoever he wants, and they just have to suffer for whatever reason. But I mean, right now, what do you do with him if? Because I mean, I swear, if they put Roman and the Fiend together, I think a lot of people are going to be like, nah. Because he's hurt right now because he lost the title so quickly, and hasn't. He doesn't have a match on this card. There's nothing that they've given him to start rebounding and bringing him back to being the superpower. We're not really seeing him creating the face. Yeah, we're living vicariously through Alexa Bliss to say this, but we still haven't seen. There's not been that redemption. We haven't seen him. Yeah, we had the Firefly Funhouse with Bray Wyatt, and they brought in Wobbly Walrus, but we haven't seen anything else again about that. It's like that got cut off, and they focused on the Jay Roman issue, which is great, and I love it, but it's like I'm worried that they're going to go back to that Roman Bray Wyatt feud after this, and then we're going to be like, oh, well, we were really excited, and this sounded really good, and now it's just kind of like the steam's let out, and we're going to go back to the, like, two people that I don't think right now. Not that Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns can't give us a good match when allowed to, but I just, storyline right now, it doesn't. Bray Wyatt needs to go back and revamp himself, and I think right now, continuing the storyline with Alexa Bliss, possibly building other members to a new Wyatt family or a Fiend or a new Funhouse or whatever they want to call it, would be better to rebuild and re-strengthen the Fiend. But this match, Roman Reigns.
Yes, sir.
And so that is the Clash of Championships Gold Rush, because, hey, why not add a tagline to all these stupid pay-per-views now? That is our review, and this is the Value Wrestling Podcast, and tomorrow night we will both be right here for you doing a review, and we'll be in the same place this time, so it'll be better than this split screen. We're going to be in the same place. We're going to have a great setup, and we're going to tell you everything that went down at the pay-per-view Clash of Champions tomorrow night. We will be here. We are going to watch that, and at least we know that we're going to at least have something worth watching. It's not going to be United Wrestling Network's Primetime Live, so we're not ready to sit back and be like, oh, what are we watching?
This is what wrestling hell feels like.
Yes. So at least tomorrow night, I feel like we have something. At the end of the day, I think there's at least one match on the card that has really piqued the interest. Otherwise, on the card, I think, well, the Hardy Zayn Styles triple threat ladder match is going to be a good one, and I'll break it down to the rest.
That could be entertaining.
At least I can say possibly two matches that are going to be worth watching. The rest of them, I don't know if there's anything to really talk about. I know the Drew McIntyre, I have higher hopes for Drew. I just think the Randy Orton storyline's kind of nicks a lot of his momentum. Like, they got him the Mania, they got him the title, he had this momentum, and maybe it's a lot of it's COVID, the virus. I don't know if we're going to get next for saying COVID because it's a bad word, I guess, on YouTube. But anyways, since everything shut down in the world with the way it is, he did lose a lot of the momentum he seemed to have, and I don't know if that's because of everything shutting down or if that's just because they gave up on him so quickly.
You want a simple test? Look at his world title runs in TNA as Drew Galloway, then look at his, WWE Championship run as Drew McIntyre. I do kind of blame the virus a little bit. Now, there still might be some backstage, reasons as far as booking, but there are just plenty of times I feel like people would have popped had people been in the arena.
Oh, at WrestleMania when he won the title, the whole place would have blown up, and it would have been perfect, and they had the perfect storyline, and they did everything perfect to get to Mania, but when they were cheated out of having that moment in Mania, and he was cheated out of that moment in Mania, it really took the wind out of the sails of all of that, because the pop would have been horrendous. We would have probably been sitting here talking about some of the biggest pops in professional wrestling. That would have been one of them. We would have had that huge. That place would have came unglued. The stadium there in Tampa Bay would have probably created a tidal wave in Texas through the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, it would have been big. It would have been a big deal. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. And I feel like since then, he just hasn't been presented as the same. I know he's going out there doing his best. I'm not against him feuding with Orton, but I really feel like Orton's being pushed as the bigger story than McIntyre. Because I started going back to letting Randy Orton do the Legend Killer thing, and then it was like they really were pushing Orton and building Orton up, and it's like they kind of just let Drew McIntyre stand here. So hopefully McIntyre wins tomorrow night. Hopefully that means that he's beating this badass Randy Orton, which gets that momentum going back behind him again. Hopefully he carries through until next WrestleMania, and then we can go from there. So he would have had that moment, and it's sad that it got taken from him in that instance. You're making yourself too noticeable. Okay, stop.
Might be a good time to sign off anyways.
Yep. So, anyways, this has been The Value of Wrestling. I'm the big time BT Baldwin. You know this gentleman over there as Paul is Clark, and we are The Value of Wrestling, and we will be back tomorrow night. Remember to subscribe, favorite, follow me on there. No. Remember to subscribe, ring that bell, give us a big thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, give us a big thumbs up, ring that bell, so you get notified of all our videos, and especially the one we're going to put up tomorrow. This has been The Value of Wrestling, and we hope we've given you the best value. Deuces. Deuces.